Well, hi, Jewis. I'm back with 40 Years Mills and Boone, and it's the two-in-one book because God, I love my library has loads of these. Actually, it's great. It's easier. Okay, so two-in-one, lovely, both in the Mills and Boone Cherish range. Reading the first one, first of all, okay. A New Year Marriage Proposal by Kate Hardy. Let me read the blurb. A New Year Marriage Proposal, where millionaire Quinn O'Neill's neighbour Carissa asks for his help, he's been caught up in the work and the beautiful yet guarded woman behind it. Now Quinn is determined to prove that romance isn't just for Christmas, but for a lifetime. Okay, so this guy lives in basically the really posh part of London, okay? And then suddenly he gets a knock at his door one day just before Christmas, and it comes in Carissa. Oh yeah, here we go. This is so British, okay? Right. Here we go. This is when okay, they just introduced. He just knocked on his door. Mr. O'Neill, welcome to Grove End Mews. Her accent was totally plummy. Waffy background, he guessed. Then again, given how much he paid for his house in Belgravia, bloody hell, it's pretty obvious that all his neighbours will be from wealthy backgrounds. Assuming she was his neighbour, but why else would she be welcome to the area? Okay. And so here comes Carissa. She's basically like the neighbourhood angel, if you will. Okay. Right. Right. And she just likes to get in touch with people and welcome his new neighbour, right? And she's just like a breath of magical girly sunshine, this one, okay? Knocking out the door in London, getting to know your neighbours. Scandalous. Actually, I've got cool neighbours. They're both fantastic on either side of the house. So, right, here we go. No. But talk a little bit about Belgravia. All these houses are listed houses, and the builders regulations people are just a little bit picky about who'd allowed to work on them. Okay, so, and they live in a residents association. So, but she comes in and they kind of talk, and she basically wants to get involved in her kind of scheme of Project Sparkle because he's really high tech in computers, and he's also an absolute billionaire. He's been in magazines, and she basically knocks on his door and says, "Happy Christmas, welcome to the neighbourhood. I can help in my secret project." You know, because she's a little very Santa as our Carissa. There you go. And this is how he's tempted. Okay, food, of course, food. Right. He picked up a square, still warm, crisp edges against his fingertips, and yet there was enough to give when he held it to know that the inside would be deliciously squidgy. I took a bite, hanging in a cube. So after this billionaire eats her brownies, okay, no, that's not a British euphemism, okay? Actual brownies, okay? He decides to work together on Project Sparkle, and they kind of get to know each other because she's building a virtual Santa Claus for poor little kids in hospitals. Because Carissa is so good and kind, okay? She is so good and kind. Right, a virtual Santa Claus. Here you go. Right. Yes, a virtual Santa. Right. Yes. Because they can't have a real Santa for the kids in hospital. Okay. And then obviously that's how it's going to work. So she's part of his Project Sparkle Secret Project. And then you find out, okay, how Carissa, who does kind of like work, she's actually is a lawyer, okay, how she makes all that lovely bank. Because what is to you the worst Christmas song ever? The one that you just hate. Now, the best Christmas song is A Fairy Tale in New York by the Pokes. Thank you very much. And Kirsty MacColl. Thank you very much. And, but what's the worst? Now, essentially, she made her money because, right, the radio was playing a song he really loved, Santa, Bring My Baby Home for Christmas. A super sweet Christmas song that had always meant the festive season was on its way. Quinn's least favourite time of year. Okay? The song's so terrible, he said. Talk about cheesy and sugary. Okay? Because her dad wrote it. Pete Wild, the Wild Boys. Okay? But basically, I don't know, if you want a British equivalent, I think slave. Okay? So, yeah. And then he died in a plane crash with his wife. And she was kind of raised by her grandparents. And then Clarissa finds out, okay, that Quinn O'Neill's kind of big thing. Okay? He hated Christmas. He hates Christmas. He's a Scrooge. Right? A man who hated Christmas. It's so far removed from Chris's own view that it intrigued her. Why didn't Quinn like Christmas? He had a tough childhood, maybe, growing up in a family where Christmas had always been a source of tension and worry. Explain why he didn't like the commercializationism. Here goes a word. And money was tight, tempers tended to fray as well. The results of that first hand when she helped at the refuge, yet the women were still tried to make Christmas good for their kids and put their own feelings aside. So basically, she, after meeting with Quinn with the virtual Santa, and who's top is a billionaire businessman who hates Santa, so who hates Christmas with Santa. She makes it his goal in her life to basically show him Christmas in London. And one thing I really love is the way she described Kate Hardy described Christmas in London. I actually loved. Okay, I actually loved. That's also correct. Went from Oxford Street down through Regent Street. Correct. Okay. There were cascades of fairy lights on the outsides of the shops. Some gold, some lilac, some silver, some brilliant white. And Chris was clearly loving bits of the display. Queen just wasn't convinced. All he saw was wasted energy and a way of attracting people. Spend as much as the disposable income as possible. Carnaby Street had kooky, inflatable decorations, as if my arches were covered in fairy lights. Piccadilly Circus was as bright lit as it always was, and the tree in Leicester Square was filled with starbursts that had Carissa cooing in pleasure. Okay, trying to work out the math here. Okay, Regent Street, go up to Carnaby, then you probably have to walk back on back down Regent Street. You can detour. Okay, hold on. Oxford Street, then to Regent Street, go up to Carnaby Street, then go back down through Regent Street, walk through Regent Street, get Piccadilly Circus, okay, and then get Leicester Square. Okay, alright, yeah, that checks out. So, okay, yeah, that checks out. Okay, so, but they kind of bond and get chatting, and she likes hot chocolate, of course she does. Okay, alright, and then alright, they go ice skating. Yes, they go absolutely ice skating in London. Okay, right. And I don't know if this is like satire here, but there you go. Nell's way of Carissa's scent. Something floral overlaid with vanilla and underlaid with something that smells like fresh linen. Bloody hell, what did she use, Bolt? And somehow his arm ended up around her shoulders. With her by his side, holding him close, he was gliding, almost floating on air, and it felt amazing. I wasn't sure if it felt like more like Peter Pan or like Jack in Titanic. Alright. But anyway, Carissa herself, okay, after losing her parents, was raised by her grandparents and had a pretty privileged life. But it turns out, okay, her ex-boyfriend, okay, abused her. Okay, which is a bit of like a giant motive in the story. And Carissa never kind of gets the resolution that she really needs with this because um, Quinn talks to her ex, but she doesn't. And basically says you need to get some help, but never tells her about it, which I thought was kind of a little bit weird. Okay, right. And this bit here, okay, because it proves it can happen to anyone. Okay. I was so ashamed, she said. I was supposed to have the perfect life. I was close to qualifying as a solicitor with a dream career ahead of me. I was living in a fabulous flat in a posh part of the city, with a successful boyfriend who adored me, and nothing to worry about in the world. And then it happened, and he abused her. He beat her and broke her arm. Right. And we had a trust fund. Basically, it turned out, okay, he was a gold digger, and he abused her to get a trust fund when she was 25, and that's really jarring. But because I said everyone who goes through that, that's absolutely horrible. But the thing is, Carissa is an overcompensator as well. She kind of has this trauma in her life, and also issues losing her parents, and she kind of projects this air about her, and her area of vulnerability kind of came in. I felt like a little bit too late, but then you find out Jake's past as well. Now, Carissa, what happened to her was absolutely terrible. I'm glad, okay, even in the Mills and Boone book, okay, she managed to kind of get away from all that. However, when it comes to Quinn's story, how he is the way he is, okay, basically his mum abandoned him. He went to live with his aunt and uncle, okay, who just didn't really get him. There you go. Assembly had done where he developed the app that made his fortune. In the middle of the recession, when his shop had been paid off, he bailed out his aunt and uncle. He paid off the overdraft and the mortgage by those of his cousins. But unlike Chris's father, he hadn't really done it out of love. He'd done it so he could make sure that he paid back every single penny he'd ever spent on him and didn't feel in their debt for more. In turn, he knew they resented him for doing so because he'd done it quietly by telling them or making a fuss. He knew that he'd make them feel guilty for the way they begrudged him as a child, and guilt wasn't a good thing when family was concerned. Sometimes it was easier to sulk in silence than to apologise for past hurts. Yeah, so he decided, okay, after being abandoned by his mother, taken in by his aunt and uncle, didn't really get him because he was like, what, studious, to pay off, to basically help them out, and after that just didn't speak to them. And maybe it's just me, okay, but Chris's reaction was like, well, maybe they've changed, you should speak to them, not seeing it from their point of view. I'm like, what point of view is there? What point of view is there? That's one thing, okay, I really, really don't like it, is Chris has this need, okay, she's got to be right all the time, okay, and it turns out, yeah, she's right. Okay, he talks to his cousin, and they kind of like start making amends, start rebuilding the family, and different person's point of views. But in the day, Jake was not Jake, sorry, Quinn was a child, okay, and he kind of was put all through this. It kind of feels like really kind of irredeemable. Right. Mhm. Right. But the thing is, they kind of get closer, spend Christmas together, okay, and this is when Clarissa's the bit, okay, because Clarissa kind of seizes her moment here. Here you go. Right. This isn't going to work, Quinn. Not until you see yourself and accept yourself for who you really are. If you can't do that, you'll never be able to really accept that someone you can love you, and you won't be able to let yourself go enough to really love them back. And that's not fair on anyone. She was breaking up with him. Go home, Quinn. Yeah, so Krista breaks up with him until what? Until she talks to her cousin. He talks to his cousin. Okay? Right. But it turns out no, Christopher was right. He talks to his cousin. Okay? And this is Quinn's big declaration. We can't change things what happened, but we made a start of getting things right in the future. It'll take time, but I'm going to see them again at the weekend, all of them. He paused. You're right about them, about everything else too. And then obviously the proposal, happy ever after. Nice seeing the book set in London, and London actually felt authentic for what was being described. However, it was Carissa's kind of I'm always right. And the whole abuse kind of storyline just felt kind of really kind of brought in to make her seem like she's not as perfect as she projects as air of. And also this kind of, and I'm going to be truly, truly honest, okay, someone who's read many Mills and Boon books now in 1 year, this trope of someone coming in who is not a virgin, okay, has had a previous relationship, but either not been as treated as right as the hero is, okay? And this kind of, before I met you, I was abused. That is such a terrible trope to have. It happens in real life, and that's terrible, of course, okay? I'm not taking anything away from anyone. But the whole battered woman basically meets the one is an old and ridiculous trope, and it is kind of annoying me now. So yeah, however, it was nice to see London. It was nice seeing, okay, these two kind of hearts melt. It was nice seeing, okay, that um, Chris's kind of goal was to build a ward for children because she was a sick child in hospital with a heart condition when she was born. That's why her dad wrote that song about her. It's kind of nice and cheesy, but at the same time, not as good as it could have been. And to give someone an ultimatum, basically saying, okay, I can't be with you until you fix yourself or kind of do as I say. That's also a little bit wrong. Okay, sign off here. 40 years Mills and Boon. And bye now.